Hello everyone, my name is Mimi79. Today I've got round number 3 of the FIA Manufacturer Series. So as you can see there, 343 points on offer for first place, which is just absolutely incredible. Huge points available here at Fuji. So this is a Group 3 round, and the main thing you need to know is that you need to use the soft and medium compounder tyre. So lots of strategy available, and so you can start on the mediums, then go on the softs, or you can do vice versa. So mcolin993 leaves the room. Now I'm not sure if that was a disconnect or he just did not feel confident in this lobby, but I don't know, and I will never know. But anyway, just a quick reminder to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. It really does help me out, and as I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, it would really just help me get there. Also, feel free to join my Discord server as we talk all things GT Sport there. So if you need any advice with daily races or FIA, feel free to join and we can discuss there. But anyway, beginning at our qualifying lap, then we've got the slipstream of VSR Catfish, who is really quick driver, but he's in the Lamborghini, which is not exactly an easy car to drive at all. So as we go through turn 1, then not the greatest run, definitely could have braked a tiny bit later. As we go across the first sector split, it's going to be 21.0, which isn't bad. And then through turn number 3, then clipping the apex very nicely, and then through here definitely could have taken it a lot better. I did keep a tighter line than I probably should have. But as we go through here, then this is my biggest mistake. So as you can see, I just took a bit too much curb, and I've got a huge bit of oversteer. That lost me easily a tenth, maybe a tenth and a half. Just that one mistake, going on the curb a bit too much and then accelerating, caused the back end to kick out, and that really lost me a lot of time. But as we go into the final sector, then clipping the inside curb, then just flicking the car left. You've got to power out as early as you can without losing the rear end. But as we go through this corner here, clipping the curb quite nicely. You don't want to take too much curb, but into this one you can really attack it. And as you can see there, clipping the apex really nicely, and then using a bit of the curb on the exit. Now, one of my main weaknesses, I think, on this game is qualifying. You know, I hardly ever hook up a lap. So as we go on the run to line, it looks good so far, but I'm not 100% sure yet. But as we go towards the start finish line, it's going to be a 1 minute 36.2, which puts us in 3rd position. And as you can see there, I was absolutely ecstatic with that, because normally I never ever hook up qualifying. So to go 3rd was absolutely amazing. But as we go on to the race, then we remain in 3rd position, but the main thing we have to do is look after the fuel. Because we're starting on the soft, we've got to break away from the guys behind as quickly as possible, so that we can save more fuel, and then they can't save more fuel. So as you can see, they're just short shifting early, and then lifting off as well, just to make sure that we save a tiny bit more fuel. And then as you can see, they're just short shifting, making sure that we don't rev out the cars as much as we can, because in this one you had to save as much fuel as you could. There wasn't any choice really. So as you can see here, just shifting up into 5th gear just to save that tiny bit of fuel. And then into here, I looked for a move, and in hindsight this could have probably got me a better result than I already did. But unfortunately, hindsight is only so powerful. You can't change the result now. Although looking back at it, I definitely could have braked a little bit later. But my thinking also was to just sit behind this guy and save fuel. So as we go through here, then get a much better exit than Rubinho as well in the 4GT, which was actually an okay car. I think actually quite good in qualifying, but I didn't expect it to do very well in the race, because it's quite well known that the 4GT does not like fuel saving races, or tyre saving races for that matter. But as we go through the final corner, then keeping it in 3rd gear just to save tyres a little bit and also the fuel. And we are now over a second clear from Monaco Callum, who is in 4th position. So another thing about this race as well is that the slipstream is very, very important, because the gap was just over 1 second to Callum as we entered the back straight, or the main straight, and it went up to 1.6 there briefly. But again, just sticking with the guys in front, you don't need to go for any stupid moves. It's lap 2 and there's still 18 more laps left after this one, so going for a move would likely ruin most chances at a result. Although, again, looking back at it, I do think that if I got past the Croatian driver, I could have maybe got a better result. But as you can see there, he loses a lot of time. He did not get the greatest run, and then here I think I should have gone for the move, because I think it was clear that this guy was not very quick. But I'm just going to back out and just try and save more fuel. So then into the final sector, then you've got to really use the curves as much as you can, otherwise you will potentially lose a lot of time. And then just keep it in third there, just for extra stability, and also just to protect the tyres a little bit, because you don't want a lot of revs, because that will kick up a lot of wheel spin. But as we go into the final corner, then clipping the apex nicely and then keeping it in third, again just to preserve those rear tyres just a little bit. And then as you can see there, the gap is now closing to the leader, and it's going down to 9 tenths to 8 tenths. It just goes to show how powerful the slipstream is. So instead of 1:37.8, which isn't a bad lap time, but you can definitely go quicker in the race, especially when you're pushing flat out. But here I'm just trying to save fuel. I'm really only getting dragged along by the toe. But here, as you can see, Daco I think is just about in the slipstream, but very soon he will drop out, and this is something we've got to be aware of. Is if he loses the slipstream, it's over. We've got no sight of the leader, and we're going to have to get past as quickly as possible. But as you can see there, I think he is now out of slipstream. He did not get the greatest run through turn number 4, I believe, and then out of there as well, just losing so much. I don't know what it is, but that 4GT just seemed to be so good out of the acceleration zones. But into the final sector once again, just trying to save as much fuel as possible, and also just not really pushing flat out. And then into the tight right hander, really tricky to get right, but we are just going to whip it forward a little bit, because this race was really characterised by slipstream and tyre saving. So instead of a 1:37.7 there, but here we're going to look for a move, and then we're just going to think otherwise in the last second. But he goes deep into the first corner, and we're going to look for a move, but we're just going to short shift so we don't get past him, because frankly going side by side into turn 3 is about the worst idea you could do. Probably even worse than invading Russia in the winter, but we will just gloss over that as well. He's gone. Yeah, I think he just got the curb glitch there, which is quite common at Fuji, especially since a lot of the curbs are very, very nasty to say the least. But as we go through the middle sector, then there's not much really to report of. We tried to close the gap to Rubinho, but he's just too quick in that 4GT. So skipping forward to the end of lap number 10, the gap is now about 4.4 seconds, so you've really extended the gap in the last few laps. As we go into the pit lane then, clashing against the wall, we're going to fit on the medium compound tyre, obviously since you have to use 2 compounds in this one. So we also have to refuel. I was trying to save as much as I could, but ultimately it just wasn't enough, since the Aston Martin is unfortunately not the greatest on fuel. E-Monaco Callum actually jumps us there by quite some margin, so the undercut has worked for him, even though it was only a 1 lap undercut. He was about 4.5 seconds behind, although I also think that he did refuel slightly less, which could have also contributed to that. Although I do think, looking back, if we just got past the Croatian, we could have definitely got much better results, since we could have saved more fuel. We could have also saved the tyres a little bit better, and we would ultimately have a better chance as well, and also wouldn't have lost as much time behind him as well in the final stages before he obviously got the curb glitch, which is unfortunate, but you know, it happens. You've got to avoid those curbs as much as possible. But as we go into the final sector once again, we are well over halfway into this race, and it's already been 18 minutes just lapsed, as you can see there in the bottom left corner. So we're just going to whip forward here to the end of lap number 13. Kerb has now closed up to us. He is on the soft compound tyre, so there is literally no point fighting him. We might as well just let him go, try and save as much fuel as we can behind him, since I did slightly under fuel at my pit stop. So as you can see there, we're just going to let him pass. There's no point at all. It is just very stupid to do that. But as you can see, it slows down quite dramatically. I do think that he was in a higher fuel mix, but he does manage to open that gap back up, since he does have the softer compound tyre. As you can see there, just the tyre advantage is so big from the soft and mediums. We're in the exact same car, but he just pulled like 2/10 there in one corner, and then just there he's got so much more grip coming out the corners. There's not much you can do, so just short shifting there just to try and save every last drop of fuel. As we go into the final sector then, the tricky hairpin, really tricky to get right. You've got to use the curb though on the right hand side, and then also on the exit use a bit of curb as well. But I do like Fuji a lot more than I did before this week, because I was really not looking forward to this race. I thought I was going to skip it at the start of the season, but in fact it was a very fun race. I do think that the settings were pretty much spot on, since you had a lot of things to worry about, and it led to some very interesting strategies, especially in the mid-pack, since you had a lot of cars come through. But this is the end of lap number 16. Kerb has dropped us, and now Itzakor is also going to do the same. There's not much you can really do, and we're just going to let him go really. There's nothing that we can do against him. He is on the softer tyres, and Prima Eddie is actually going to follow through. Bit of a forceful move, but it was just really speeding up the inevitable really, and we are going to just have to sit behind. Now there, the fuel is really concerning, because we have 3.3 laps of fuel left, which it's not good considering there's 3 more laps left after this, and we're not even halfway around the lap. So the fuel situation is not good. I do think we should have overfueled, especially as we could have maybe shaved a second just by shifting up slightly later. But as we go into the heavy braking, so they're really good overtaking opportunity. But again, going for a move here, especially when it's so early in the race, is catastrophic. So definitely try and kind of maximise your overtakes at this track. That's what I wanted to say. Especially as there are so many places to just send it, especially in the lower categories where dirty air isn't really prevalent. You've got to really time your moves well, so that you can move up the pack really. But we are just going to whip it forward here. As you can see, there are 2.8 laps of fuel left, so this is the final lap now. We've got 0.5 laps of fuel, so we managed to save it quite well, but as a result we've lost so much. So now GTS Bokakimi is only 1.6 seconds behind, and I believe if there was one more lap I would have dropped down to 7th. But still, it's been a pretty solid race. I do think that my pace on the softs could have been better, but regardless, I do think that P6 is a really good result, given that I was not looking forward to this round at all, given that it's Fuji in the final sector. It's just an absolute pain. But as we go towards the finish line, then we're just going to have enough fuel, and it's going to be P6 in round number 3 of the FIA Manufacturers Series, and I was really happy with that, especially as I was not looking forward to this round before this. But yeah, it's going to be a really solid result. I believe it's going to be 271 points. So if you did enjoy, leave a like and subscribe, turn on post notifications. Take care everyone, and goodbye.